Hi everyone, my name's Sam Green. I'm the founder of Cambrian. And today I'm going to be talking mostly about the agentic finance landscape. So I'll have three parts to this talk. I'll give an introduction to agentic finance, I'll then talk about the landscape, and then I'll tell you a little bit about my project. So my definition of agentic finance, or AgentFi, is the market segment with automated or autonomous products that actively manage user funds or provide financial advice. It's a pretty broad definition, and I'll explain why. All right, so there are 5 types of agentic products deployed today in crypto. We have agents for trading and portfolio optimization, agents for liquidity provisioning, lending, prediction embedding, and information agents. Trading and portfolio optimization agents manage users' funds by rebalancing portfolios or picking assets to buy and sell. When these agents operate, they need to know price data, they need to know users' risk preferences, and some of them also take in social sentiment and news for their decision making. In the next 5 slides, you're going to see some projects listed. And over the past couple months, me and my team have surveyed the field, and we've tried to identify the agentic projects that are shipping and available and not just marketing. And so everybody you see listed here is an available product. Next, we have liquidity provisioning agents. These agents provide liquidity in DEX protocols and decentralized exchanges. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to get trading fees when people swap in these DEXs. So these agents need entirely different types of data and make entirely different decisions and use different optimizations from trading agents. These agents need to track returns across DEXs and the pools within those DEXs, and they need to avoid impermanent loss. Then we have lending agents. These agents supply tokens to be lent out in lending protocols. And then they get revenue through the fees that people pay, or the interest that people pay when borrowing from the lending protocols. Some of these agents also manage users' loans and try to help the users prevent being liquidated. These agents, again, solve a different problem. They care about different protocols. They need different data. So they're looking at yield opportunities and lending protocols. They're looking at the protocol risk, liquidation risk. They also often care about a particular token and where it can be lent. Often that token would be in different chains. This segment has become the most popular this year with the emergence and the growth in stablecoins. Next, we have prediction embedding agents. These agents are predicting the outcome of real-world events. And these agents are different from the others in that they all care about on-chain and off-chain data. Actually, this segment, it was interesting to me because we've only found these 2 projects that we consider to be actually available for use. There's quite a few more that are talking about, or teams that are building products or marketing products, but there's only 2 that are shipping that I'm aware of. And next we have the information agents. So these agents perform sentiment analysis, fundamentals analysis, or technical analysis. And these agents are different from the others in that they only focus on providing information. They don't take actions. And all of them take on-chain and off-chain data. So I know that some of these agents are also being white-labeled or used as inputs into decision agents that are actually making decisions and making transactions. Okay, so this is the AgentFi era is just getting started. And even though I know that you hear a lot of noise on the topic, you drive down 101. If anybody drove from SFO Airport, you couldn't help but see that every billboard had agent on it. I'm operating the space. I think it's just getting started. But what I'd like to point out here, and this goes back to my broad definition of what an agent is. Right now, look at this kind of the bell curve, the red plot. That is rule-based automation. So most agents today, we're at the dotted vertical line, most agents today are using rule-based automation. They're using mathematical optimization to perform their decision making. So even if they label themselves as AI, they're probably using math or statistics or rule-based automation for their decision-making today. But what's happening is starting last year, we started seeing the growth of these AI co-pilots. In our field, I think, I'll explain where this plot was from in a moment. In our field, we would call these terminals. So these terminals often take users' intent, and then what happens is they'll take the user's intent and they'll map the intent to an action, and then that action will be deployed by some rule-based mechanism. So this avoids the hallucination problem. And so a lot of projects today, they have a natural language interface that let people then trigger rule-based actions. And then finally, the blue plot, that's what these autonomous agents, this would be, according to this plot, it would be more AI-driven decision-making. And something you could imagine would be like purely like an LLM deciding everything it's going to do by itself. Yeah, so you can see this is just getting started. We can't do it yet because hallucinations are still a problem. But those will be solved, and it'll become more and more prominent that things go on autopilot. This plot is by Ramp. They released this in a blog post last year along with their $500 million raise. And it matches nicely to what's going on in our domain. So this is my version of that previous plot. And what we see here is that we have two axes. On the x-axis, we have how intelligent the agent is. And on the left-hand side of the axis, we have rule-based agents. On the right-hand side, we have AI. And then the vertical axis is autonomy. And what we see is that many of the agents being deployed today are still rule-based. And on the upper right, we see that there are many that are using AI, specifically LLMs, for their product. What I'd like to point out is that even though you see some in the far upper right-hand corner, there's not enough room, so I don't want to give the impression that the ones in the upper right-hand corner are actually state-of-the-art. And the other thing I'd like to point out is that the AI arrow is going to keep stretching infinitely, and so what is considered state-of-the-art today is in a year or two is going to not be state-of-the-art, of course. Tomorrow we are going to be publishing a deep dive on this topic. We've been working on a blog post for a couple of months, and so if you check out our page, you'll be able to get more details. One thing I'll point out is if you look at this, you may think, I've seen many more projects than this. Well, they're either not shipping or not publicly available, and so that's why we haven't listed them here. We've focused on projects that are publicly available or where you don't have to buy like $10,000 worth of tokens to access. These are things we can use. And if I'm missing one of those projects, if I'm missing a project that should be here, I'd appreciate it if you could tell me. Okay, so now transitioning, the common element that is needed by all of these agents is data. And we think that in particular, agents that are making financial transactions need to have data that solves or meets the data trilemma. So we define this specifically as data that's fast, because a financial agent that can be first to know can be first to act. Agents also need comprehensive data, so not just raw data, but context-rich, actionable data. And finally, agents need data that's verifiable, because if an agent is going to be making a $1 million transaction, it needs to be based on accurate data. And this is what we focus on at Cambrian, my project. We focus on providing fast, comprehensive, and verifiable data to financial agents. Initially, we're focused on Solana, providing a simple-to-use API, and then we're going to expand to other chains that have high financial activity. We also have an information agent that you can use to do research and provide alpha. It's called Deep42. So in a little more detail, we take unstructured on-chain data and off-chain data, and then we convert it to financial intelligence. So specifically, the raw data includes transaction data, wallet activity, GitHub and governance activity, financial news and social activity, and then we convert that into token performance analytics, cross-chain yield opportunities, liquidation risk modeling, token risk heuristics, and quantitative sentiment analysis. We have a team, we're all alumni from the Graph, and beyond the Graph, we have deep experience with other leading crypto projects. and we also have deep experience with TradFi and AI. So we're going to publish our blog post tomorrow, and if you are building in the agentic finance space, please get in touch with me. Thank you.